Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into a topic that's both timely and relevant, especially if you're preparing for UPSC GS4 Ethics. We'll be discussing the recent development in Jammu and Kashmir, where people of Jammu and Kashmir have rejected jailed candidates, ex-militants, and separatists from being considered for elections and public offices. It raises some crucial ethical questions from the perspective of different stakeholders, and we are going to break that down today. So, what were the sequence of events? In Jammu and Kashmir, there was a decision to reject candidates who were either jailed or had a history as ex-militants or separatists. The political landscape of J&K has always been complicated, especially post-abrogation of Article 370. In recent years, there has been pressure to move towards peaceful, democratic process, but allowing people with militant backgrounds or who are currently jailed to participate in politics, which is controversial. Several parties in J&K, like the People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration, PAGD, opposed the idea of fielding such candidates, claiming that it would send wrong message to the public, especially in a region so heavily affected by insurgency and conflict. They argued that fielding these individuals could undermine the rule of law and democratic integrity. Now let's talk about the ethical dimensions involved in this issue, as this is the most important aspect for UPSC ethics. First, political parties. Ethical responsibility to society. Political parties are expected to uphold democratic values and integrity. By fielding candidates with criminal background or involvement in militancy, they risk eroding public trust in the electoral process. But on the flip side, should these individuals be given a second chance? Is there a path for redemption and reintegration into society through politics? Then there is a question of accountability and transparency. Parties must be accountable to the public. If they endorse individuals who were part of militant activities, are being transparent with the electorate about the values they stand for. The second stakeholder are the public or the citizens. Right to fair representation. Citizens in a democracy deserve leaders who reflect their aspirations for peace, development, and stability. Thus, fielding ex-militant or jailed individuals meet those aspirations? Ethically, this raises the question of whether the public's right to a peaceful future is being compromised. Second is forgiveness and rehabilitation. As a society, should we allow individuals with violent past to reform and re-enter the political arena? Are we promoting ethical rehabilitation, or are we risking the glorification of violence by doing so? Third stakeholder are the candidates themselves, who were ex-militant, separatists, and jailed candidates. Right to participate in democracy. Everyone has a right to participate in the democratic process. But here is the dilemma. How do we balance this with the need for security and trust in leaders? For ex-militants, it brings up the ethical question of whether their past disqualifies them permanently from serving society or if they should be allowed to reform and contribute to governance. Then there is a question of moral responsibility to acknowledge the past. If these individuals were allowed to contest, would they accept responsibility for their past actions? Ethically, there is a need for accountability. Have they shown true remorse and commitment to peace? Fourth stakeholder is government and security forces. There is a question of ethical governance and security. The government's responsibility is to ensure peace and security in Jammu and Kashmir. Allowing former militants to enter politics might be seen as risking the stability that has been so painstakingly achieved. But on the flip side, the government must also promote inclusive politics. How do they balance these competing ethical obligations? Fifth stakeholder are the families of victims. There is a question of ethics of justice. What message does this send to the families of those who suffered during the insurgency? For example, it might feel like betrayal of justice. Ethically, the system must ensure that victims are respected and their losses are not forgotten in the name of political expediency. So how is it relevant for UPSC GS4 Ethics? This topic touches several key areas of the GS4 Ethics syllabus. First is integrity in public life. Should individuals with questionable past be trusted with public office? Can they truly uphold the values of integrity, honesty, and impartiality, which are so critical for civil servants and politicians alike? Second is ethics of accountability. Political parties, the government, and candidates all have a duty to act ethically and be accountable to the public. This ties into the idea of transparency and maintaining the sanctity of democratic process. Third is emotional intelligence and public trust. The issue of whether society should trust ex-militants as leaders also brings up question of emotional intelligence. Understanding public sentiment, managing outrage, and building trust are critical components of governance. Fourth, forgiveness, rehabilitation, and justice. This topic can be an excellent case study for discussion around forgiveness and the ethics of rehabilitation. Is it possible for the individuals with a violent past to contribute positively to society, or does their participation compromise justice and peace? Fifth is case study example. This situation can also be used as an example in your ethics answer, especially when discussing dilemma related to public service, integrity, and the balance between personal rights and societal responsibilities. To conclude this topic, we must ask ourselves, should ex-militants or jailed individuals be allowed to contest elections? Thus, giving them a second chance conflict with the broader ethical responsibility to society? The Jammu and Kashmir case is a complex one with no easy answers, but it's certainly one that brings up deep ethical questions that are relevant to governance, democracy, and public life. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you are preparing for UPSC ethics paper, this is definitely a topic you'll want to keep in mind for your answers. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more discussions on ethics, politics, and everything in between.